When you're trying to be self-sufficient, there are four things you really, really want to focus on, four different groups. And one is food, one is water, one is shelter, and the other is something to barter with, that whether it be money or some kind of an item, but you have to be able to trade or barter with other people. What we're going to talk about today is food. And the interesting thing, you're like, what's this have to do with the Amish? Well, I was inspired by this because I was having a conversation with some Amish neighbors, and it came up about a recipe that they were having, making for dinner that night. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is something that is available to all of us. And a lot of times when we think about food, we think about canning and freezing things and all of that, but we really haven't touched on what about those items that are right here and they're free and they're right in your yard or right in the woods. I'm going to share 3 items today, and the last item will be the one that they shared with me, and I will also share 2 recipes that they shared with me. The first plant I want to talk about is called ramp. It's a wild plant that just grows in the woods, and the leaves of it actually resemble lily of the valley, so it's very similar. And I've got some pictures here where you can see the difference, but it grows wild. A lot of people aren't aware of it, and when you pull it out, it looks like an onion, and it actually has a very earthy onion flavor, but it also has kind of like a garlicky flavor to it. So this is a wonderful plant that you can use to season other dishes, and so very important if you can find it and you know it's there. Again, you don't have to use it now. Maybe experiment with it a little bit. Make sure you know how to find it, identify it, and then put that on your list of wild plants that you can forage. Or the next one really surprised me. Here's a picture. These are edible, and these are clovers. How many clovers do you have growing all over the place? They're in open grassy areas. They can also be found, on the edges of the forest, and you can eat them raw. They do taste better if you boil them, but think about spinach leaves or something like that. You can saute them, you can eat them like a salad, and you can mix them in with other recipes. So definitely healthy, something that's edible, and you don't have to just eat rice, right? I always think of self-sufficient people that they probably have like 4,000 pounds of rice available. And while that is something great to have, you've got to have spices and you've got to have other things to cook with it, or you're going to get tired of it really fast. The next one you have heard about, but I doubt if a lot of us have ever tried it, because this is something we spend tons and tons of money trying to kill every year. It's in our lawn. Yes, it's dandelions. And I know during the Depression, everybody ate dandelions and we heard all about that. And I used to think they only ate them because they were hungry. Well, that's not true. My friends, our neighbors that we were talking to, actually are eating dandelion salads right now, today. It's part of their diet, part of their menu planning. They eat dandelions. And I was just really intrigued. And that's what kind of influenced me to try to find other things. I've got a recipe, a link below. So make sure you go ahead and get that recipe. The other thing that they do is they also take off the head of the dandelion when it's very fresh and new, a new plant, and then they fry them, and they almost taste like fried mushrooms. I have not tried it. I was, again, intrigued, but again, I have the recipe here for you. Now, some of you are thinking, I've already killed everything in my property. If you plan on eating your dandelions, you're going to have to stop spraying, because obviously you do not want to eat stuff that has been growing with pesticides on it. So just stop spraying. I don't spray. I live out in the country, and they just grow all over the place. And it's kind of refreshing to not have to do that. So I'm kind of excited now. I'm thinking, oh, maybe I don't have enough. You can, when they turn white, you can blow them when you make a wish, and that's when you're dispersing the leaves. Or just go ahead and buy yourself a packet of dandelion seeds and have them ready to start growing when you need them, or just go ahead and plant them now and start a harvest. Again, you can grow them in your house, apartments, out on the porch. Look at your own circumstances and make it work for you. But start thinking outside the box. What can we eat that maybe we haven't saved up for? There's food all around us that we've never even tried. All right, one of the things you need to do is look down in the links below. You don't have to choose those books, but I found a couple books that you can purchase and have information about food that is right there at your fingertips. One of them is about foraging in the woods, and you can also look in your yard. You can also take a third step and plant things. You can get dandelion seeds and plant them so that you have an abundance just in case. If you have any other ideas or any good books that you've used that you have in your library, then go ahead and put them below and share them with us. We'd be happy to have them. You have a blessed day and start educating yourself. Find those plants that are free that you can start learning about so that you can eat them just in case.